Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO of Keeper of the Brand Marketing and Digital Agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services to help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry. Her new book is titled ABCs of Love, an easy-to-read alphabet book with colorful pictures that stimulate the imagination and engage the youngest reader. Daphne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Donyshia. And first, let me say that I am so excited to be here with you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Oh, we're so excited to hear more. And let's start off with telling our audience just a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am from Mississippi, but I've spent most of my adult life in New York. I'm married with two adult children. My daughter is a third-year law student at Vanderbilt Law School, and my son is a senior at Bentley University. I come from a family of educators, and I'm a healthcare administrator by profession. So
that was really so writing a book and being an educator was kind of in your DNA.
Yes. I love children, and I love writing. I love reading. And so this was right down my alley.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, when did you realize you wanted to be a writer or get the inspiration to write the ABCs of Love?
Well, Donyshia, this has been a lifelong dream of mine, believe it or not. And Habakkuk 2:2 says, write down the vision, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come. And so that's what I've done. I've wanted to write for a long time. I've actually written stories all during my life. I just hadn't published the stories that I'd written. So when we were sequestered for the pandemic during this 2.5 years, it gave me an opportunity to bring this book to fruition.
Oh, that's fantastic. And a lot has grown out of the pandemic. We had some dark times, but this is one that's definitely positive and with love that I see. How did you decide on your book title?
Well, that's just it. ABCs of Love. I thought that we really needed something to make us look at each other and to love. Love is what was missing. So I came up with the ABCs of Love title. And then I said, well, I want to put a portrait of love on the title. So my book has a real glossy red cover that's beautiful for the touch. And it's got two beautiful brown children on the cover. The little girl has her eyes closed. She's holding her brother. And you can actually look at this picture and feel the love. She's just so excited to have him. And he's looking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to discover today?
Now, was this inspired by your children, your very own children?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. As I mentioned, it's been a lifelong dream of mine. And when my children were small, we would go to the library. We would look for books that looked like them, and we didn't find many of those books. And so, I wanted to write stories that all children could really relate to. I mean, I grew up on the Dick and Jane series.
Oh, yes, I recall that.
And so, again, there was not a lot of diversity in those particular books. And so I wrote this book, and I tried to find an illustrator who could kind of put a good little picture of a girl and a boy, a confident girl, and a happy boy on the cover.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, and for everyone that's out there, you'll be able to Google ABCs of Love. I know it's a bestseller now on Amazon.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The book is easy to reach. All you have to do is type in Amazon.com, and when the search line comes up, you type in ABCs of Love, Daphne Perry, and the book will come right up.
Perfect. And they'll be able to see the cover and then find out a little bit, read a little excerpt.
Yes. The book has a good rhythmic cadence.
Oh, nice.
To it. It goes like A. A is for Amos, my little baby brother, who just came to live with me, my father, and my mother. And it's got a beautiful picture of a family that's happy looking. And then, B is for the baseball and bat that Amos and I will share. It has its own special spot in the corner over there. And there's a beautiful baseball and a bat. It looks simple, but it's eye-catching. The kids will enjoy it.
No, absolutely. And so you just sharing that, the first thing I thought about was Sesame Street. So many children, during my era, waking up, watching Sesame Street, learning to read and to count.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a spin on the alphabet itself. So instead of the count, you have Zora.
Yes.
So tell us about Zora.
Well, Zora is a very confident little girl. She's protective of her brother, and she wants to expose him to make sure that he knows what he's getting into for life. And so she goes through the book and she tells him about all the adventures that they're going to share together from A to Z, the different things that they're going to see. And she makes it happy. She does it in a rhythmic cadence that is good to the ears. Mm-hmm. And he's just in for a good time.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so this is all in line with early childhood education, and that's the category that you're in. And so where do you see, of course, available online, but is this a tool that can be used in school? Is this a tool for, daycare or daycare providers or health providers that are out there?
Oh, most definitely. I'm glad you mentioned that. The target audience for this book is birth to second grade.
Okay.
Yes. I find that parents have told me that they enjoy reading it to their children. Their older siblings enjoy reading it to their brothers and sisters. Aunts, uncles, grands enjoy reading it to nieces and nephews. Even teachers. Teachers have read the book, and I've actually had an opportunity to read the book to classrooms.
Oh, that's nice.
And to daycare centers. And the response that I get is really overwhelming. It makes me very happy. They're excited about it. Reading is very important. And reading and storytelling with babies and children really promotes brain development. It helps them with their language and their emotions. And it actually strengthens the bond between the reader and the child. And so when you give a child your full-time attention when you're reading them a story, it helps them build their self-esteem. It helps them build their vocabulary. It feeds their imagination. And actually, it really improves their sleeping time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's good.
Read on, children.
It's good for babies. It's good for toddlers, your preschoolers, your kindergartners. There's a relatable image in this book for anybody who reads it.
That's something that is really inspiring. I know great to hear for mothers to hear so that they can have the children not only take in the story, but as you mentioned, sleep longer, sleep longer, sleep longer.
Yes.
And so what message do you hope to convey with the ABCs of Love and Zora's journey and throughout the book?
From the parents who've read this book, they've actually told me that their children enjoy it, that their children actually go to the book. They pick the book and they want it read to them, not once, but 2 or 3 times, throughout the day. They tell me that that their older sibling really enjoys reading it to the younger sibling. So I think that it's a happy book. It's a fun book. It's a book that's inspiring and adventurous, and it's got colors. It's a very colorful book that really gravitates and makes the child point to it and, ooh and ah and really enjoy it.
Now, so what was you said this is your life mission.
Yes.
And what is the feeling you get when you hear the children oohing and ahhing and flipping through your book?
Well, I am just overwhelmed and thankful that this book puts a smile on the reader's face. That's exactly what I want. I want what I would like to do is to have this book in the library of every little baby and child, and I've got it actually in a number of the school districts' libraries in Nassau County. So I'm very excited about that.
Now, you said this was a life work,
yes.
But being in the pandemic, sheltering in, how long did it take you to put the story together?
I've been working on, believe it or not, I've been working on these stories for years. And actually, in between working and raising kids, this just kind of got placed on the back burner.
Right.
So when the pandemic came along and it really kept us in one particular space and made us sit still, I was able to put the finishing touches on it. My sister actually helped me publish the book, and one day she called up and she said, Daphne, okay, just press hit.
Nice.
And it was out there. So I was very, very excited about that.
That's fantastic. And so that being said, you sheltered in place, you put all your thoughts on paper, and now you actually have your finished product. How does that make you feel?
I am so excited to be an author. As I mentioned, this is one of my lifelong dreams. And when people call me up and they say, Daphne, we want our class to be introduced to, an author. Can you read to my second graders? Can you read to my daycare? My heart just opens up. It's a very, very good feeling. And as I mentioned, the book is an easy read. It's easy to find. All you have to do is go on Amazon.com. In the search bar, put ABCs of Love and Daphne Perry, and the book comes right up.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwartz, and our guest today is Daphne Perry, a children's book author from right here on Long Island. Her new book is titled ABCs of Love, an easy-to-read alphabet book with colorful pictures that stimulate the imagination and engage the youngest readers. And so, Daphne, you're on the radio today. You have your book. We're going to inspire you to create an audiobook. I can hear you reading as we're sitting here. And thank you so much for sharing some of the excerpts. So we look forward to that being the next portion of your book journey. Was it an easy write for you? Did you feel like you have any writing quirks or things that you wanted to stay away from, or things that you liked that inspired you during the writing process?
Thank you, Donyshia. It was an easy writing process for me. It was easy because, as I mentioned, it's a lifelong dream of mine, and I've got bukus of papers where I've written down different thoughts and different excerpts and different quotes that I'd like to include in a book. And so when I sat down and when I wrote this book, I was able to regurgitate it. It just kind of came back. And books have a way of transporting you from our world to another world. And so I just put myself in the book. I thought about my children and what they would want to see in an ABC book of love, and it just came down on paper.
And do you think Zora is going to become a book series?
Yes, ma'am. Zora is going to become a book series. As a matter of fact, my second story that I hope to release very soon is going to be My Very Busy Day. And the book focuses on Amos, but Amos, of course, is doing things with his big sister Zora. Yes, he's going through the day. He's going from morning to nighttime. He's playing. He's in the garden. He's doing flowers. He's on the slide, he's riding in his car, he's doing a number of different things, and he's reading.
And I see a little, correlation. So Zora being with Z and Amos with A. So
yes,
from A to Z,
from
the
A to
ABCs
Z,
of Love.
From A to Z, the ABCs of Love. It's a great book for your preschooler, for your toddler. It builds self-confidence, it builds their self-esteem, and it actually strengthens your relationship. When you're sitting there reading to your child, children love good books. And I'm just excited because I've been told by parents that their children actually go to the book and they say, they go to the book and they point to it or they crawl to it and they pick it up. They really enjoy it. I also have friends whose children are special needs. And they've said, Daphne, the book, not only is it pretty and not only is my child into ABCs, but they really love the rhyme, the rhythm, the cadence that the book has. So it's eye-catching. The pictures are vibrant. I mean, when you go through it and you go to different sections, I like the E for the elephant, and E is for the elephant that lives in the zoo with the lions, tigers, and bears, monkeys, and the hippo too. I like that picture. The monkey sits on top of the zoo, and the elephant is bright gray with pink ears, and you've got all the other animals. The elephant is standing tall, and I guess one of my favorite ones is the G. G is for Granddaddy, who Amos and I will see. He lives on a farm with chickens and my pet cow named Sunny. I have a farm in Mississippi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so, it's got pictures in here that the reader can relate to.
And that's stimulating in itself. And the reason why they're looking at the book, crawling the book, they want to see and touch and feel it. And the bright red really draws them into the book itself.
It draws into them, and it makes it easy for them to find in their library. As I mentioned to you, the babies crawl to it, and the little kids enjoy reading it to their siblings.
And now, what book inspired you, Daphne, when you were growing up?
Well, I was an avid reader, I must say. And one of my favorite books, believe it or not, is Black Boy by Richard Wright. And I really... I like that book. I mean, it's a harsh book. I like that book because Richard Wright is from Mississippi. He's actually from Roxy, Mississippi, and that's where I'm from. And so I was inspired to say, wow, here's another African-American author who's written a book just like I want to write. So although his childhood was not the best of childhoods, I could relate to him on a number of different levels. So that was my favorite book. Yeah. And then, of course, I like Christopher Paul Curtis, Bud Not Buddy. I like him. And then right now, I think I'm more into adult romance.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I like Brenda Jackson and Beverly Jenkins books.
Those are awesome, great reads.
Yes, but I want to say my favorite author in the world is probably my sister, Sydney Malaire.
Nice.
Yes, so we've got that in the family.
Oh, I love that. And you said she helped you publish your book.
Yes, ma'am, she did. As a matter of fact, my alma mater, Alcorn State University, just recognized all their alumni authors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this past weekend for homecoming. So that was exciting.
Oh, that is exciting. And it's good to see representation, people who look like you, especially for young people that are, growing up and they think, oh, maybe I can't be an author. But then they don't realize because maybe, they don't really actually see authors. Right. They see their work, but they don't really know.
And that's exactly what this book does. It gives children of all ethnicities an opportunity to see themselves represented in the book. And I think that's very important. I mean, that was something that was missing when I grew up, but that's something that's available here, and it's available now. ABCs of Love, Amazon.com. All you have to do is go into the search bar and type in ABCs of Love and Daphne Perry, and it comes right up. I also have a website, www.daphnetillmanperry.com, and you can purchase a book there as well.
No, yeah, and so everyone out there, it's very great to know that Daphne enjoys reading and traveling and playing the piano. And so are those, some of your hobbies represented in the ABCs of Love?
Yes, it is. I've got stories here. I've got the S where Zora is singing, and I've got a T in here where she's tap dancing. T is for tap dancer. That's what I am. I have a favorite step I do. I'll show you. Hit it, Sam. My daughter tap dances. So I put some of their experiences into this book because, again, I think it's important to have a diverse representation, and it's important for us to see ourselves doing these things that make us happy and make us smile and show love.
And that's what it's all about, the ABCs of Love, making sure that children of all ages, feel love, because there's so many children out there. They wake up and they don't. They wake up hungry. They wake up feeling, that they are, having issues in bed. Maybe they were bedwetters, so they're not having a great experience, right? So they pick up ABCs of Love.
They pick up ABCs of Love, and they're actually transported out of their world into an entirely different world. A world that they can relate to, that they can enjoy, that they can see happiness, and they can see love, and they can actually see some of the things that maybe they've never seen before. Maybe they've never seen the cow and seen the farm. Maybe they've never thought about quicksand or stepping in quicksand. Maybe they haven't looked at peanuts to grow. So there is something in here for everybody.
And it's an escapism, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's an escapism.
It allows them to be transported into Zora's world, right?
Into Zora's world. And again, Zora wants to share her world with her brother, just like siblings want to share what they do with their younger brother and sister. And it's an opportunity, again, for grandparents and nieces and nephews and teachers, those to talk and to show them an adventure.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Daphne Perry, a children's book author from right here in Long Island. Her new book title is ABCs of Love, an easy-to-read alphabet book with colorful pictures that stimulate the imagination and engage the youngest reader. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Now, Daphne, you also have in your professional life, in your career, you also work with Alzheimer's disease.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you see this book being, helpful to people of all ages?
Yes, ma'am. This book is relatable to people of all ages. I mean, I have friends who are, believe it or not, 97, 99. I've given this book to them as a gift, and they say, it takes me back to my childhood. It helps me to recall and to remember when I went to school, and I had a good friend named Roosevelt, or I had watermelon, or I was playing baseball. It's really relatable, again, to the reader and the baby. The baby is open. Children are innocent. They're in for discovery. They actually think they're fearless. And so the red cover vibrates. It's attractive. They go to it. It has a good feel to it. They like the cover. And then the pictures, as the pictures are being described to them and read to them, it's captivating.
And now for other authors out there, how did you decide on your illustrator?
Well, I went through several different illustrators. I gave them several different stories because I've been writing stories for a long time. But they were smaller stories just to see how the pictures would look. And I actually was looking for someone who would make those words pop. And I was actually to find my illustrator. My illustrator is actually from Africa. Wow. But I was actually able to find him. And after talking with him about what I wanted to do and a couple of different, drafts, we were able to come up with something that I think pops.
Yeah. And that's an important part of the piece, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You want the words to come to life. You want the children to enjoy the words. You want the words to resonate because, again, reading and storytelling is very important. This book helps the children learn sounds and words and develop their language. It helps them develop their emotions. And again, brain development is very important, and it starts early in life. I was so excited that after the book was released, 3 weeks after it was released, it was Amazon's #1 hot release in early childhood education. So...
Yeah, and right in the height of the pandemic. You had so many children who, because they weren't going to school, they had no books to read.
Right, and so they were sit at home. And when their parents got the book and read it to them, they enjoyed it. The comments that I get from parents from all over, from Texas, California, Mississippi, they say my child really, really likes this book. My son loves to read it to his little sister. They gravitate to it. The baby crawls, picks it up. Unbelievable. And I've had the opportunity to speak to daycare centers and to school-age second graders, and the questions that they come up with after I've read the story, it's just wonderful. The reception that this book has received, I'm very thankful for.
And it's definitely a book for the entire family.
It's a book for the entire family. Your grandparents can enjoy reading it again to their grands, your aunts and uncles, your nieces and nephews, godchildren, even educators and teachers. It's a good book. It's a good book. It's a book for families. It's a book for everybody.
Now, I want to go back to one item you said. This, you went to your alma mater and they honored the authors.
Yes.
So how was that experience to be amongst other literary professionals?
Well, I want to say, Alcorn State University is a historically Black school, and so and one famous author that I know, a number of famous authors came, but one famous author that went to Alcorn, is an alum of Alcorn, rather, it was Alex Haley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so, for Alcorn to say, well, let's bring our alum, let's put their books in a special area of the library, and let's dedicate it. It was the first time that they've done that, and we were very, very excited. They had authors to come from all over.
And I just want to say to our listeners out there, Alex Haley, if you don't recall, he was the author of Roots. He is the author of Roots, the ABC hit phenomenal series from the 1980s, I believe. And so you are among greatness at Alcorn.
Right. He didn't graduate from Alcorn, but he attended Alcorn, and there's a big picture of him with he worked with the football team as their water carrier. So,
oh wow, and that really just shows you the depth of what's coming out of your town, your college.
Most definitely.
And so let's just talk about, what's next for Daphne. And so, you talked about your, this becoming a series. Mm-hmm. Where do you see Zora and her brother, in their future lives?
Well, I see Zora and her brother sharing lots of different adventures together, adventures that we're going to put on paper and get out there for the world to enjoy and to be engulfed into their world.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so, I know it's definitely going to be an adventure, because once you put two siblings together, they can really explore and discover a lot.
Most definitely. I'm looking forward to publishing my other stories. This is the first of many. And again, it's available. It's easy to get to, Amazon.com. All you have to do is put ABCs of Love, Daphne Perry in the search bar, and it comes right up.
And you are definitely spreading love, Daphne. This book is really just touches my heart, because, the ability for young people, young babies, mm-hmm. mothers to read to their children is so key to their development.
Oh, most definitely. And again, not only mothers can read it, but fathers can read it. We've got big sisters and big brothers can read it to their little sisters and little brothers, And then the daycare centers. I'm available. I'm available actually to read it to daycares and to play groups. You name it. I want to spread the word.
And you have that soft voice that's definitely going to enlighten, inspire young people and have a twinkle in their eye, but then mostly rest well when they need to rest, sleep at night.
Most definitely.
And so, Daphne, please once again share how people can contact you and your final thoughts.
Okay. People can contact me by my website, www.DaphneTillman-Perry, that's DaphneTillman-Perry.com. The book is available on Amazon.com.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. We are so happy to have you and share your work with the world.
Thank you, Ms. Donyshia. I greatly appreciate it.
Our guest today is Daphne Perry, a children's book author from right here on Long Island, the author of ABCs of Love. I'd like to leave you with DB's philosophy. Experience the joy of getting lost inside a book and making learning fun. That's a quote from our very own Daphne Perry. We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill. Visit nccradio.org for more information. Available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.